like what to do.
And we're live. Sorry, she was just this lovely lady was giving me financial advice on cryptocurrency. She is the woman to go to.
No, wasn't a financial advice.
Okay.
Just in insight.
Getting me up to speed about cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this evening's interview. I would like to introduce my guest, who has very kindly joined us. This is Silvia, Crypto Empress. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. For anybody watching, apologies, I'd left the sound on. I've been having lots of technical issues this evening. One of which is the internet has been dropping out like it's nobody's business. So we're going to try and crack on. If we have any problems or it keeps dropping out, Silvia has very kindly offered to reschedule if we have to. So we shall see how we go. So before we delve into the medical side of things, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm 24 years old. I'm from Estonia, Tallinn, very small country, right below Finland, with very small population, 1.4 million people. I have been a dancer for 20 years. I love that very much. I could say I'm doing it kind of a professional level already. I also love singing very much. I do hobby modeling, kind of, if you could say that. And I do crypto, which means that I work in Estonian Cryptocurrency Association as Chief Media Officer. We have monthly crypto events that I host. And I also host a crypto news show as well, which is like going on in YouTube. So I'm trying to be like everywhere.
Everywhere. Many fingers in many pies.
Yes.
So let's go back to the beginning and let's find out where, for you, the same question I ask all my guests, when did you notice that there seemed to be something wrong health-wise? When was there a change in what you were experiencing?
I didn't so much like had this certain point that I noticed, but now thinking back, of course, I had like symptoms from the time when I was in high school. Because I had very bad periods. I had like terrible stomach ache. I was like, I wanted to stay home. Sometimes I wrote to my mom, like, I can't go to school. But, I always heard that, it's normal to have period pains. You can like do it. No worries, like go to school. And actually, like I visited our school nurse. Like I was like monthly visitor there. And every time she like gave me just like the painkiller and like no spa, which is like kind of menstrual painkiller. So said to took them together, but eventually like I kept saying to her that, this doesn't help and it doesn't make me feel any better. It's just a lot of pain. So thinking back now, if, for example, the school nurse would have known more about, to already start kind of pinning down those symptoms, then like I had the same school nurse from 6th grade to 12th grade. So that's like 6 years, the same like doctor. And so by the time I ended high school, like if I would have gotten all that information and then moved on, then eventually when I go to the doctor, they could have already, started linking those things and we would have found out about it earlier. But then I kind of finished high school. I had my first boyfriend around that time, and we were having like unprotected sex, and nothing happened. Like we were together, and it's like it sounds so like insane. Right, thinking back now, how could I even actually do that? Because it can take one time to get pregnant.
Yeah,
I was young and stupid. Yeah, so it was about a year and a half, and nothing happened. Then some time passed, and I got together with my current boyfriend or fiance by now, and we were doing unprotected sex as well for I think it was 4 years. and
Wow.
like nothing happened. By that time I was kind of like, it's weird, like why, like anything, like what, like one part of me actually like didn't want it. I wasn't like ready, but at the same time I was like, okay, that's weird, like nothing is happening. Okay. And so it was I think it was it was like September in 2018, yes, September, when I went to the doctor. And they said, like, they made an ultrasound or something, and then checked me and said that I have like a cyst in my right ovary.
Yeah.
But it's normal to have women to have cysts there. They usually go away by themselves, and it's all good. So and then it was actually the first time when they wrote me the pills, the baby pills, and told me to start taking them, and that these should like make it go smaller. So I was like, okay, nice. And they told me to come back 3 months later to check it. 3 months later, I go back, and I had another cyst in my another ovary, and the first one had gone like bigger, way bigger. And they were like, okay, so do you want to keep on taking the pills, hoping for it to go away, or do you want us to cut them out? And I told them I want them to cut it out, because by that time they also told me that I can't go to my dance classes, because there is like a chance that they may burst, and then I'll get like internal bleeding, and then I can't do like overly tough exercise. So, and I was really sad, because like that September I had just auditioned to a very good dance group in Estonia, in Tallinn, and I was so sad that I literally had to like drop out of the crew, because I couldn't like go to those classes, and that made me really sad. So they scheduled a surgery for me, laparoscopy, like they said, and like it is, and it's supposed to be in March, so it was around 4 to 5 months to the surgery, and then I had like a surgery. It was like I thought I'm going there and they're gonna cut out my cysts, and then I'm gonna move on with my life, and everything's gonna be, I can dance again, and everything's fine. And then I wake up from the surgery, and I'm still like kind of dizzy there, and like don't get anything. And the doctor comes in and sits on the bed, and is like, this surgery was a success. We removed both of the cysts, and but they also had to make like at first they told me that they're going to make like 3 incisions, 1 from my belly and 2 from like my lower abdomen, but they had to make a 4th one as well, because actually they found like endometriosis growing all over my bladder. And she started the whole thing and saying that actually we found out that the cysts were like the chocolate cysts, and that you have endometriosis stage 3, and that it had been grown everywhere on my bladder and so on. But rest now. And so I was like kind of like, okay, whatever, and passed out, and then slept for a few hours, and then I woke up, and at first I didn't even remember that. I was just laying there. I was like, okay, feeling kind of like weak and stuff. And then one moment I was like, okay, the doctor came in, but she also like mentioned something with a word name with the letter E or something I've never heard about, endometriosis. So I started Googling, and then I was like, then came the realization that, oh my God, that all this time like this, because actually when the first time I went to the doctor, when they found out the first cyst, they asked about have I had like stomach pain or stuff like that, and I kind of like I didn't even mention that to them, or any stomach pain or anything like that, until I went home, and my fiance actually told me that you have actually said like many times by now that your stomach always hurts. And I'm like, oh, right. But by that time I'd lived with that like every day, that it just doesn't like even come to my mind to mention that it's a relevant thing, because it's like happening all the time. So when I got that realization and I was reading that it's like, yeah, it doesn't have any cure, and it's hurtful periods, and the fertility issue and all of that, then I kind of like was like, oh my god, and it made like sense to me, but at the same time I was like, oh my god, that it doesn't have any cure. I was like, what's going to happen now? And then they wrote me pills, which were kind of like stronger ones. Visanet, I think it's like the Estonian version of Visanne. That
Okay.
I've seen from, or something like this, yeah. And but they were very strong. They were like, for the first time in my life, I really experienced like the side effects of a medication. I went to like a very dark, deep place, and I had sleeping issues. I had nightly sweats or nightly colds. Everything that I tried to eat was at first was like hurting, and I couldn't really understand what should I eat to not make my stomach hurt, because a lot of times it felt like all these years this endometriosis has grown inside me. So it was like a long continuous pain, and then they cut it out, and now it starts growing again, so you start feeling again how it's like
Yeah.
growing inside you. So that was very like not comfortable.
No.
And the pills, they really like got me to a really bad place until I eventually, when I went to a checkup with my doctor, I told her that I just cannot keep taking them because I have very bad thoughts, and I'm not sure if I'm even here after 2 months if I continue like this. And she was thankfully like the woman who did, the doctor who did the surgery and who was consulting me then was like specialized for endometriosis. So that was really good.
Okay.
She was so she was understandable. And even though it was weird that she didn't like even like told me before when I went to the consultation, that maybe it's like we have like some sort of idea or thought that maybe you don't have endometriosis. Sorry, that thought kind of got lost.
It's fine.
Anyway,
There's a lot of information you've got to think of in one go, so you're forgiven.
yeah. So she was very understanding, my doctor, and I told her also that I read about a lot about CBD treatment. That CBD helps with the pain and everything like that. And she was very understandable. She told me that I can continue taking baby pills and then like also use CBD oil. She didn't like prescribe it to me because in Estonia it's kind of like if you're the doctor who promotes anything weed or cannabis related, you get a bad image of you or something like this. Yeah, but she was understandable. She said that yes, that I can. That I can continue going with this route. And then like time passed, but I went to a new like dance group, and then I also started noticing that there were like times where I actually had to like miss out and I couldn't go because I had so bad stomach pain or periods overall. It was really like very painful. And I also noticed that the more I was stressed, the more it kind of got power. And I also noticed having like a lot of pain in my lower back, in my hip area. I read about it that is something like that endometriosis like kind of growing on that nerve or something like that. So I'm not sure about that. So anyway, at one point I went to the doctor again. It was half a year later when I had my surgery for a checkup. And they told me that they kind of see like something growing there again or something like this. and that most likely in a half a year I should go to a surgery again. So that would have been like just a year later going to surgery again. So that was kind of like, oh God, why again?
Yeah.
And it was a lot of affecting my go. Most likely, I felt bad, like missing out on my dance classes, because this is something that I've done for so long. And I know how important it is with teamwork, that, you know, when someone is like absent like so many times, everyone is like, you know, why? Like, well, we don't need you here. Well, they didn't say that, but it makes me feel kind of that way. It also kind of affected my sex life. There were times where I was like, I didn't like even want to be touched. I was like so out of this world. And but thankfully it like has gone better. And it will kind of like worked it out, and found good ways for it. And so this year I went to the doctor again. So that was the year later, when I had to go to the surgery now again. But they first sent me to MRI test to see more betterly, because I was also having a lot of intense stomach pain. Like I was going to emergency room like few times myself, because like it was just so hurtful. And it was also weird that when I was working, like the previous job that I had, that was very like stressful. And it also, I saw how it affected my endo, because I had a lot of absent days until the moment like my family doctor was like, okay, you're taking a sick leave again. But like the health organization in Estonia checks these kind of things, and if you're like absent so many times, they're like, why, how can you be sick so many times? And then I'm like, but you can show them that I have endometriosis, right? But then the family doctor says, but there are other women who have it too, you know. But that only shows that the doctor doesn't know much, because not every woman has the same symptoms. Not every woman has feels the same much pain, you know. So, and she also has recommended many times for me to get pregnant in order to cure it, which also I know we all know by now that is false. So a lot of like headache going around with it. But I got into the middle of MRI thing that when I got the results, then they said that unfortunately it has grown kind of like behind my uterus and my ovaries in a way that they can't cut it out, because they might like they're in a risk to hurt the ovary or something like that, and then I might not have any kids anymore. So they can't really cut it out at the moment. So all they have really done is tell me to constantly take baby pills. Usually you take baby pills in a way that you have like 3 weeks you take, and then 7 days you have like the time for period. But thanks to endometriosis, like grows when you have periods. So the doctor kind of told that in order to avoid it growing, to not have any periods, so I just have to take the pills continuously, which is kind of like, I see how my body is kind of at one point not understanding what it does have to do. Like, it doesn't give me the periods, it kind of gives me something like there, but it's not that. And you understand that like it's actually not like functioning normally, and it doesn't understand, you know, what it has to do. So only a few months later, I had like, I think, my worst experience with I think it was endometriosis flare, because later I've kind of read about it, and actually previously as well, because I was just like randomly sitting at home, and at one moment I just got like so bad stomach pain. I was literally like I couldn't stand up. I at first thought that my appendix bursted, because it felt exactly like that. It was very like straightforward, like cutting inside me.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I immediately also thought that, okay, it can be like endo related as well, because I've read about it, women ending up like in emergency rooms with the ambulance, and they do all the tests and nothing shows up wrong,
Yep.
you know. And then I took a painkiller, and then like after 10 minutes it just kept going worse and worse and worse. And then I was like, oh my god, do I really have to now call an ambulance? I felt so bad. Like call them and I tell them that my stomach hurts, you know, they're gonna, and I'm calling an ambulance, because and I called, and I did like kind of experience the kind of this not so pleasant feeling from the lady on the phone, who was like, are you sure you can walk to the, I don't know, staying in a car or anything? And I just said like, I can't stand from my own like feet, like I can't like go from a straight position. And she was like, okay, the ambulance will come. And then they came. But they didn't like take me away immediately. They got me in the car right next to my house, and put me like the
IV. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
To kind of relieve the pain, but after like 15 minutes nothing had happened. It was just and it was like 2 male doctors, so I kept telling them, you know, I have endometriosis and it's most likely like this, and they didn't understand anything I was telling them. So they was like, okay, we're gonna take you to the women's doctor part of the hospital or emergency room, and they took me there, and I actually took them 2.5 bags of painkillers until the pain started go away. God. So after that I was thinking like, oh my god, at first I thought that I can handle this at home with one painkiller or something like that, but after seeing like that they had to use like 2.5 bottles or bags of that like painkiller, because it was really tense. And then they of course did all types of tests. The woman doctor, I don't know the word in English. Woman doctor anyway, vagina doctor. came to check me as well, and said that everything looks okay. So that most likely it was endometriosis related, because they see like that my cysts there are like kind of like small ones that are like gaining momentum, I would say. But that it most likely was that endometriosis related, and there is nothing, you know, you can do to prepare for the next time, you know, because you never know when it comes again, and you just can't be prepared for it. So that's kind of all of it, or like kind of overview of it, how it has been. I haven't known about it for so long. It's been like 2 years now that I've actually known about it, that I have it. But I just feel like it's 21st century, you know, and they should be finding a cure, or at least like educate doctors more and educate like people overall more about it. But at the same time, it's like what I've seen from Facebook groups, like in US and probably other places as well. The medications, the medical help is expensive. Like in Estonia, I have like insurance. I have insurance, so everything was free for me. But like I know that in US to call an ambulance and like every step you do, like it costs. So it's actually more profitable for the industry to not find a cure and keep on, you know, going like this, but I really do hope that the situation changes. I saw just like last week a BBC news clip about a doctor who has endometriosis and who is working on finding a permanent cure for it. So fingers crossed. I really hope that it will be successful. So because the current solution is it's not a solution.
No, I think it's barely a treatment at the moment, let alone a solution. Okay, we've got some. I think we have some questions. I'm just going to have a quick look down our little chat list here. Would you say? My girlfriend's actually asked. Would you say in Estonia they seem, because one of the things it seemed that you got with a lot of the interviews that I've done, there seem to be a lot of people who struggle to even get a diagnosis. They've seen multiple vagina doctors or gynecologists, as we call them, and they will be told that it's just heavy periods or you're exaggerating your symptoms, etc., etc. And it seems that they have to go through so much even just to get a diagnosis. But it seems that you got a diagnosis fairly quickly. Would you say so?
Yeah, well, I think I got the diagnosis more quickly thanks to having the cysts, because you can see the cysts from the ultrasound. So kind of the next step was the laparoscopy, and then they could like diagnose the endometriosis. But for stage 1 or 2, or I know where you don't maybe see it so well, then I think it can be harder. Plus, I also, because Estonia is like so, we have such a little population, 1.3 million. So I also think that, there's a saying in endometriosis, people say that 1 in 10, right? 1 in 10 women have it.
Yeah.
But like, since we have 1.3 million people overall, then I think like we have it like 1 in 20 or 30 women that have it or something like this. So, and I think a lot of them like suffer maybe like in a way that they don't even like tell maybe so much about it. They rather like suffer in silence, because Estonians have like a lot of history going back. Many different countries have been invaded us, the Swedes, the Germans, the Russians, and so we've been all like very kind of tough, had to be toughened up, you know. So I think we have that mentality to kind of toughen up and suck it in, and not really, because for example, we don't even have like endometriosis marches. I see like people organizing endometriosis awareness marches and spreading the word. I know one group in Estonia that we have in Facebook, and it's not even only about endometriosis. It's kind of like overall women reproductive organ diseases.
Yeah.
But there's like one post a month, and nobody gets together, or nobody really like. So people are more like inner, and they don't really like shout it out that, hey, I'm sick, because it's gonna look more, maybe I feel like don't make yourself look so pathetic. You need to toughen up.
Yeah, there was we've had a similar story from various other interviewees as well, where they've said that even when they've gone to see like female doctors and female gynecologists, it seems that there's a sort of, well, other women go through this as well, so what makes you so special? It's, exactly. we all have periods, we all have various pains and aches and everything, so but it's knowing that there's a difference between having a heavy period and suffering sort of, and of course everybody's period is different. Some people are going to be heavy flows, light flows, more pain, less pain, longer periods of time, but it's the fact of when it goes from that to being, I'm in excruciating pain, I can't even walk, then there needs to be that acknowledgement that this is something more. But there doesn't seem to be that. There just seems to be again, almost like a fobbing off. We don't know whether it's, this is actually something I was going to ask you, as you said, because you've got a lower population, do you find when you go to see your doctors, and also because you have private healthcare as well, do you find that the doctors tend to spend more time with you? Do you feel that they actually listen to you more? Or do you feel, how does the medical system seem to you?
It really depends on the doctor, because I feel like the first doctor that I got, the one who made me the surgery and who was actually an endometriosis specialist, she kind of understood it more. Other doctors have been more random, because like at that period I didn't have, you get the free healthcare only when you have like a stable job, or well, like legal job or something like that, if you can pay, if you pay taxes. Yeah, that's the right way to say it. So by that time I was kind of more doing entrepreneur stuff, and I had to kind of visit the doctors that are assigned to you. You get free when you're under the age of 26, so it's called like the youth cabinet. And these doctors there, well, they weren't like endometriosis specialists, so like they kind of listened me, and then they were like understanding. But I kind of saw that the information that they gave me and all of that, it wasn't like, I saw that they are not educated enough for me to like take it 100% truly.
Yeah.
At least that's what I felt. But I feel that they have been very kind of they have, at least they show that they're empathetic, but it's, I would say that it has been more like my family doctor who has been the one who is kind of more like, oh, you know, everyone is having it and you can't be sick so often. So not even so much the vagina doctor, it's more like my own family doctor. So maybe it's time to change that.
Sounds like it. It does seem, there does seem to be a trend of I know it's a relatively new illness that we don't have a lot of science behind it. We know it's incredibly hard to diagnose. But one of the things I've noticed in doing these interviews is that generally, if you go to a doctor and you give them your symptoms, they will sort of look at your symptoms and say, right, it could be this, or it could be this. We need to test further to find out. There seems to be a lot of people that when they go to the doctor with a lot of the symptoms that are associated with endo, but endometriosis just isn't put forward as a possibility. So it just seems that even in the medical profession, either some doctors don't seem to even acknowledge that it's a possibility for women who are experiencing these things, which I find really, really bizarre and disturbing, to be honest.
Yeah. So I definitely agree. Yeah, that there's not enough like acknowledgement, and like I think like that's what's why I think they should like start like educating also the school nurses already, because like the school nurses are like from my experience at least, like this was the person who I visited, you know, whenever I had something, we had this one nurse, and if she at least would have like known more, or if for example like when we had like sex education, then you like get like a boys class and girls class, and in girls class you focus more on different sort of women, you know, diseases, then you would already have, you know, more educated people. And also of course the doctors as well should definitely, especially women vagina doctors, should definitely get more educated. And that's why I think it's so important that people talk about it and bring it up and say that it's a problem and it should be checked in more.
One of the things you mentioned, actually, which also is something me and my partner have experienced, is you said during sort of it sort of had an impact on your sex life. Obviously, you said there was times that you felt that you didn't want to be touched, you didn't want to have sex. And then you said sort of you found sort of ways around it and ways to deal with it. You got back more to normal. Was it because me and my partner, and she won't mind me talking about this because it's again we're all learning here, but she discovered that because she's still in the phase of trying to get a diagnosis for her symptoms. So endo is a possibility. We're not sure if it is 100% that. Or we're not sure at the moment. We're still trying to find out what it could be. But she found that certain sexual positions became more uncomfortable, and it just seemed things changed. Is that a similar experience that you've had?
Yes, I can agree on that. Certain sexual is, I think it's kind of because it's of the way it like pushes the uterus or
Yeah.
something like that related, and definitely like the getting wet part and all of that gets affected, and overall getting into the mood and all of that
Yeah.
gets affected, and so yeah. But I found that weed helps.
Well, again, because I suppose if you're going through all of this and you're in pain, and obviously to be able to enjoy sex, you want to be relaxed, you want to be in the moment. If your body is in excruciating pain and you're probably stressed and everything that goes along with that. So, as you say, smoking weed, if it can relax you. And do you think that means that in your experience, obviously, going through this over time, because as you go through more pain, your stress levels are going to increase. Do you think there is a link between your stress levels and the intensity of your endo?
Yes, definitely, because like the previous job, as I mentioned before, that I had was very stressful, and I was sick all the time. And as soon as I kind of quit that, and I kind of more had more kind of my own schedule and a way more relaxed environment, than like the situation changed like enormously. So that was definitely and plus the whole work situation was basically at the same time that we had the quarantine.
Mm.
So I was just like the work was like I just finished my training. I had to start like doing the job that I was trained for, but we had home office, and I actually like it was too early for a home office. I actually had to have people next to me for the next couple of weeks, but the corona came and the home office, so I had to start making calls and emails alone from home. So that was like super stressful. So and everything that was going on overall. So all of that combined, I saw that I was like sick all the time. I had terrible stomach pain, and that was like not even when I had my periods. It
Yeah.
was like it could come like randomly. It was what I've seen a lot is that by now I can manage it a lot with my diet. Like I've cut out like red meat, and I try to stay away from dairy and all bread stuff, and alcohol and coffee stuff like that can trigger. But sometimes it's like so random, because it's like I can eat something green and next moment my stomach still hurts, and I'm like, what? Or I can eat like a piece of cake and nothing happens and everything's fine, but the next time I eat that piece of cake, then like my stomach hurts so much that I can't go anywhere for the next 6 hours. So that's really like kind of like a lottery game that you never like know like what it happens. But definitely like with stress and all those trigger foods included, then it's like when it's the worst.
So do you think, is that, would you say that's a separate thing to you? And by the way, I have to point out that the thought of eating cake and it giving me stomachache sounds like my absolute idea of hell. So, yeah, you have my utmost sympathy in that case. But do you think, is that linked to your endo? Because obviously there are links to, for example, like stomach issues with endo and also bowel issues as well. Do you think it all has a knock-on effect with each other, or do you think they are quite separate issues?
I think they're all tied together because, for instance, when I eat like the trigger foods or the bad foods, then I also have like very like the bowel movement and all of that. This is something that has been like a thing as well for
Hmm.
me, like, and that goes way back long to my high school times, and that was like when I was very bad every time when I had like periods, like taking a shit. Like it's supposed to be a relaxing moment, but like why?
Yeah.
It's not
Why me,
anymore.
Lord?
Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, it's definitely I think linked, because like when I eat bad stuff, then it's like I literally feel the stomach movement and everything, and then like it's overall like very bad experience, and you get the endo belly, and then you're like blown up like a balloon,
Yeah.
and So yeah, but when I eat some like green stuff and for example like chicken and buckwheat and lots of greens and vegetables, then it's most of the times kind of good.
Ah, that's really interesting. Good to know. You mentioned CBD oil. Is that something you
Yeah.
use at all?
Yeah, I take it. Well, it's quite expensive, so I don't like buy it like
Yeah.
bottle after bottle. But I have been using that or other CBD products and kind of like combine it. Like, I don't want to keep taking the painkillers all the time
Yeah.
because usually when I get the pain, stomach pain or anything, then I do tend to take a painkiller, but usually it doesn't like it. Well, it helps a bit, but I feel always like I either need a new painkiller or a bit of that CBD is exactly like that will do the rest of the job. So kind of those two combined.
One of the problems also with taking multiple painkillers is it causes constipation. So of course you've got if you're constipated as well, it just adds another layer of pain and discomfort to everything you're going through already.
Exactly.
What brand of CBD oil do you use? Because information like this is really good for people who are sort of thinking about going down that road.
We actually have our local CBD shop right near me. It's Just
Handy.
Hemp CBD, and they have like quite good products. So I tend to buy from them.
Oh, excellent. So what is your situation now? Obviously, you brought us up to speed of where you were at, and obviously the impact it's had on, your sexual health, the mental health at various points in time, your physical health, especially not being able to take part in dance classes and various things. So where are you at now? You said, I think it was 6 months' time. You're supposed to go back for another checkup, and
right now it's kind of it ended in a way that the last thing they did was that MRI, where they said that it has grown in a way that they just can't cut it out because it's too risky for my ovary.
It's behind your
so
uterus,
it's just
isn't it?
so it just keeps on growing, and that's just it.
Because I know one of the last girl I interviewed, it's I can't remember. I think she's in one of the later stages, and it's made her and her partner have to look at the fact that if they do want to have kids, it's going to have to be very soon, because obviously with the progression of the illness, you get to stage 4. One of the only options you are given is to have a hysterectomy. So is that something that is crossing your mind, or are you not too concerned about that kind of thing?
I have thought about it because, of course, the baby thing is like that's one of the main things that has been concerned me with this disease, because like becoming a mother has been always like my one only goal. Before finding out about endometriosis, I actually had a dream. I wanted to get like 6 or 7 babies. But by now I kind of like I've realized that I'm very lucky if I even get at least one. But the point is, that I'm so young. I'm 24, and most likely I would like to have kids when I'm around 28, 30.
Yeah.
But if I think now that the endometriosis keeps on growing and like destroying my insides all at the same time, so I also thought about freezing my eggs. That's quite expensive. I was just calculating a few months ago, and I was like, oh my god, I don't have that money. Well, at least now, not now, but I'm definitely working on that because I definitely wanna try, because I'm definitely going to try, and hopefully it will happen, because I definitely want to have kids.
It's such a sad thing to hear, especially. I mean, I've had the snip, so therefore I will not be having children. But for people, especially from a lot of people, having children is such a massive part of life. And to know that there is almost, as you say, you've got usually between, say, your teens to maybe sort of your late 30s, sometimes into your 40s, sometimes later. But to know that there is a potential cut-off time that's a lot sooner. It's a really sort of such a harrowing thing to hear for someone, especially when it's such a big part of somebody's life. So you have, and to anyone who is suffering with this, you have our utmost sympathies. You really do.
Thank you.
So, I think, is there anything else? I think we've pretty much covered. So, thank you for being so upfront and honest in the interview. It's really, really good of you.
Of course.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I don't know. It's just like coming back to the baby thing. I think it's just really like also like at first I had like a lot of triggers. Like actually it has been like quite a long time when I found out like about that I had endometriosis and this whole pregnancy thing. That whenever I see like pregnant women or women with baby strollers or with like small babies, it's kind of like triggering me, like, oh my god, is this going to happen to me one day? It's kind of all these questions, and that's kind of like, and then or whenever like someone from my friends group even like discusses babies, like, oh, we really want to have like soon or do this or that, then it's kind of like makes you think like, oh, am I ever going to, but like overall I think also that other people not experiencing this it kind of makes you feel really alone, because like for example, like I made a post to Instagram about my endometriosis thing around a year ago or something. From there I found actually like 2 girls who have it too, and by now I know a third one as well, but that's like to whole Estonia. Like there's like 3 people I know, and like I would really love to be the one who like starts doing this whole marching thing for endometriosis awareness and all that, but we'll see if anyone, because people don't seem to very much go along like, oh yeah, let's hype it. Well, but we'll see. I hope.
One of our viewers, who was also one of our guests, Leanne, she had stage 4 endometriosis, and she still managed to have 3 kids. So don't give up hope. There is hope out there. So, yeah, just freeze some eggs if you can afford it. Always good to have a backup plan. But, don't give up hope. There is always a chance.
Yeah.
Right.
I try not to.
Well, again, thank you very much for joining us. It's been lovely to meet you and lovely to speak to you.
Same. Thank you. Thank you very much again for having me. And I really hope they find a cure.
Yeah, I think the thing we can all agree on is that this definitely needs more awareness. There needs to be more education. This definitely needs money put into it, to more research. It just needs more of everything.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that as well.
All right. Well, take care. All the best for the future.
Thank you. Thank you too.
All right. Take care, and we will see you in the future, hopefully, with good news.
Sure. Bye.
Excellent. All right. Take care. Bye-bye now. Thank you, everyone.